I'm here with Dr. Carol, and I don't know your surname, I'm afraid.
It's Queen.
Dr. Carol Queen. And obviously she's the kind of medical knowledge behind this whole event, ultimately, I suppose. Or are you the main thrust behind the whole thing?
Well, in a way, both, although it's really sexological knowledge rather than medical. I'm not a medical doctor.
Okay.
I've got a PhD in sexology.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the basic problem at the moment, in your mind, is that masturbation in our society is still a bit of a taboo topic.
That's exactly right.
If, for example, I was caught masturbating by my mother, she'd be like, what the hell's going on here? What would you like my mother's reaction to change to?
Well, generally, we think an enlightened mother would say, honey, your room's in there, you should go on in there, that's a private activity generally. Of course, we realize that here at the Masturbate-a-thon, we're making it a little more public than most people ever do. But the idea that she might give you the message that you were doing something wrong, something to be ashamed of, something to stop doing, really, I think is fundamentally problematic.
I remember my first sexual experience, the girl with whom I was experiencing said, you should be making noises.
You should be making noises.
What would you say to her?
Oh, well, I would say that should is very rarely a useful term when we're talking about sexuality, and that she was actually not giving you the chance to just be you in your own experience and your own body and process. I don't think that's great. On the other hand, she had some ideas about what sexuality should be that she'd gotten from somewhere, probably not very detailed from school, probably sort of from the movies or wherever. And, you know, I think we impose those sorts of things on ourselves and each other all the time. I think that's very, very common in the culture. It doesn't surprise me when it happens. It's just not the best.
And are you going to be participating?
It depends entirely on how many people there are and how much there is to do and sort of oversee. And not to mention how much press there is, because if we actually get a range of press all through the day, probably I'll be spending all my time talking about it and not doing it. It's a danger, it's a risk we run.
You may need a bit of stress relief.
But it's
help you out with
perfectly
interviews.
possible that there will be time for me to go and have a wank, and that would be very nice. I have participated in them in the past. This isn't just theoretical to me.
Do you use the phrase have a wank, or do you use a different phrase?
In the U.S., usually we say the commonest phrase is jack off, you know, masturbate, of course, but that's not a very sexy term. It's not, actually not a very positive term, because of course the etymology of it is pollute with the hand, whereas in China the euphemism's etymology is self-comfort. There's one where they're far, far ahead of us in attitude, I'd say. And so true, too. For most people, that's exactly what it represents. And so jacking off, which is mostly associated with guys, so lots of times the women will say jilling off now. It's sort of made it jacking and jilling, making it a little more co-sexual.
Well, I hope
so wank is actually, you know, we understand that wank is a relatively hard word in the UK, especially in terms of, you know, we were on the radio the other day and got a great deal of trouble. Yeah. Because it's soft slang for us because it's not our original slang.
Yeah. Because obviously in the Jack and Jill thing, Jack broke his head. So
that's true. That's true. Although remember in the poem that he wasn't actually masturbating.
No.
He was just going up to fetch water, and perhaps if he'd stayed down at the bottom of the hill and he hadn't worked so hard, he'd be fine now.
Just stay down at the hill, jack off, and then he'd be fine, hopefully.